everybody, welcome back to another fun episode of the Art Study Review. I'm excited today for my next guest, who's been a legend so far, what he's doing in this space. We're going to talk a ton about it, the energy drink space. He is turning heads, got people looking at him, people questioning what he's doing, but I am super, super excited for you all to listen to Cory Lewis, the humble beginnings to where he is now, what he's doing. Man, it's going to be super exciting. Cory, thank you so much for being part of this project, getting on this platform to just tell everybody how you started, where it came from, where we're going. But before I give you a little bit of introduce yourself, let me just kind of give you a little bit of background on the man that we're working with here. So born and raised in Los Angeles, middle-class parents. His dad was an auto mechanic. His mom was a food manager for a public school. He's got two older brothers, no sisters. When they grew up, they were being raised by Jehovah's Witness mom. Was very difficult, as they were not allowed to do many things like celebrate birthdays or have many friends outside the faith. At 19, he broke away from that and began to live his own dreams on his own terms. He became a Christian. He's never looked back since. He met his wife, Marlene, 15 years ago. They have three beautiful daughters, 13, 11, and 8. They live in Lakewood, California, which is also where he started and founded Warrior Energy Drink from his garage. So we're going to hear a lot bit more about that. Cory, thank you so much for being part of this. Man, give us a little, 5-7 minutes, introduce yourself, of, what makes you you, kind of give us a back history of yourself, and obviously tell us about your why.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, for having me as well. I mean, my why really is my family, my three little girls and my wife, Marlene. That's why I do it. But it's also because I have a passion for it, right? Like for me, in this whole energy drink space, I really felt like there's many things that haven't been done yet, haven't been tried, haven't been conceived. So when I began this, back in 2020, I had a vision and I had an idea, after I got laid off from work, actually, due to COVID. I was an area sales manager for a local company here. And they decided to one day get us all in a room. There's 12 of us that represented, the whole nation. And they said, we're sorry, but due to COVID, we have to shut down a lot of our stores and we're going to have to lay you guys all off. So that was a reality check for me because, it let me know that, this pandemic has changed everything. And once I understood that, and I had to go find another job, I had to go out there back in the workforce and try to find work. And the first thing I found was a night job, and I started working graveyard. I started working some late night shifts. And as I was working those shifts, I started drinking energy drinks. I'd already liked energy drinks, beforehand. But now I was really drinking them, Rockstar, Monsters, Bang, like anything I could get my hands on. And so while I was, in that space, drinking it at 1 a.m. in the morning, a thought, kind of just came to me and it said, why don't you try to make your own? And that was really the beginning. I literally was in a break room and I got a napkin and I started drawing on it. And that was kind of the inspiration right then and there. I said, you know what? I got to come up with the name. I got to come up with the logo. I got to come up with the design. I got to come up with flavors. All of these ideas kind of smacked me at once. And that's really where that origin story kind of began for me. And from that point, forward, I was in the break room every night. I completely blacked out to the fact that I was supposed to be working at night. I started working on my energy drink. I started to create Warrior. So the whole basis of Warrior is it's a drink for everyone. I consider everybody to be a warrior, no matter what you do, no matter where you are in the globe. We're all warriors. We're all fighters. We're all working towards something. And so I thought that would be really, really, really relatable. Mm-hmm. But then also the fact that, my family, my wife is Polynesian, and we've been to Hawaii, in the Hawaiian Islands several times. So my time spent there, I tasted some of the best tasting fruit and flavors and things like that. So I said, why not? Why not turn it into Warrior energy drink inspired by the islands? So that's kind of where that kind of came from. But as you covered, I grew up in LA, West LA, middle-class parents, two older brothers, and we're all into basketball growing up. And I'm a heavy Lakers fan. Magic Johnson and Kobe Bryant. Like, those are my guys, right? I mean, how can you not love those guys? But
I'm a Jazz fan. So let's just get that out there right now.
Hey, you know what? I appreciate that, because there's two people that I really respect, and that's Karl Malone and John Stockton.
Yeah.
Okay. I grew up watching them too. So, the give and go, that was their whole era, and even when Karl came to the Lakers, I was super pumped about that. I was like, yes, he's finally going to get a championship ring. It didn't happen.
Nope.
But he's still a legend, right? He's top 3 or 2 all-time scorer, so definitely got some love for the Utah Jazz as well. But yeah, I mean, that's really the origin story of Warrior Energy Drink, and a little bit of background about me and where it kind of came from.
I love it, man. I love it. Yeah, my son-in-law, he grew up Compton area, Long Beach, big Warriors fan, big Lakers fan. Sorry, big Lakers fan. Actually, the first time I met him, he was at my house. He came over with a Lakers jersey. And I'm like, this kid is either crazy coming to my house, or he's good people, right? And he ended up being I love the kid. He's really good. So
awesome.
I love it. So help me understand this. Where did this beginning of entrepreneurship come, right? Your dad and mom, they're not middle class, your dad mechanic, your mom, in the food industry at school. Where did it all come from was it at a young age? Were you hustling at a young age? I mean, help us understand, like, where did that entrepreneurship come from?
I really believe it came from my dad. He's always been a hustler. My dad was the type who would hustle cars. So growing up, there was always 3 or 4 cars in our driveway, because my dad would like to buy old, like, kind of junk cars, right? Mm-hmm. And fix them up and then sell them. And his favorite thing was Ford Mustangs, 64, 65, 66 Ford Mustang. So he'd be the type to go to the junkyard, and my mom would be like, man, what are you buying now? Like, you're getting more junk in the driveway. Well, what is this? And my dad is like, chill, I got this. He's like, hey, I'm going to fix this up and I'm going to flip it. So I know for a fact that whole entrepreneurship, that whole mindset came from my dad. And it's also with my brothers as well. They do their own kind of thing, but yeah, definitely from my dad. And I saw that at a young age. And, I was the kid in school that was even, carrying the little boxes of candy around, selling them and things like that, because, I saw people, always doing something, always selling something. And then it kind of translated into my older adult life where, I became an area sales manager, for several different companies in my past. So for me, selling things is actually fun. Sales kind of scares people in a way, because people don't like to hear rejection. They don't like to hear that no. But for me, I know that every no gets me closer to a yes. So for me, that's never been a problem. But I would definitely say, to answer your question, that mindset of doing your own thing, it definitely came from my dad.
Right. So in that, I mean, obviously growing up I did not grow up in LA. I don't even know. All I think about is California is beautiful beaches and trying to learn how to surf. And that's never going to really happen right now. Right. So how is it in that space, growing up in LA, right? Because there's the glitter and the glam, and that's what we see, right? That's what most of us see. But there's this other part of the LA, right, that you don't really see. So take us through that experience of growing up in that type of environment, that cultural environment, if you will. Like, how did that help mold you and shape you to face those? I don't really, being rejected doesn't really affect me much. So bring us into that space a little bit.
It made me street smart. And the reason why is because growing up in LA, West LA, East LA, downtown LA, you see it all. You see homelessness everywhere. You cannot be timid. You cannot be scared. You cannot be afraid, because those streets, they'll eat you alive, right? So you have to build thick skin immediately. And I think that's where that no fear comes from, of rejection, because it's kind of like when you grow up in that kind of environment, you see the homelessness, you see the drug abuse, you see, you walk down, Hollywood, there's sections of it that look wonderful, look great, Tinseltown, here I am. But a lot of that is drug abuse. A lot of that is prostitution. A lot of that is homelessness. And that's not really the part that they want you to see. But growing up and seeing all these things in LA, you have to be tough. You have to develop that mindset, well, where it's kind of like, okay, if this doesn't work, then I'm going to do this. If this doesn't work, I'm going to do this. So it's really being resilient, and it makes you tough, and it makes you keep going.
Love it. I love it, man. I love that resiliency, right? That toughness, that street smart. I hear a lot of it from people that grew up maybe not in, ideal situations. They're like, man, I learned street smarts, right? Who was it then? Let me ask you this question. Who was it that kept you out of trouble a lot? Was that mom? Was that dad? Was that both? Or was that, in a lot of people's cases, it was the belt, right? The fear of that belt, right?
Yep.
Help us understand, because all of that could have been really easy to go down that path, right? Drug addiction, you can see the drugs, the homeless. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of trouble to get into. So help us understand, was it mom, dad, both? Who kept us in line, and how has that transitioned today?
It was my mom. I give her 100% credit for that. I can remember maybe one time in my life where my dad actually spanked me. One time, once. My mom, on the other hand, she was the disciplinarian in the household. So when I really think back to it, I'd say my mom, along with my brothers, my two older brothers, they helped keep me in line. They helped keep me out of trouble. They always watched out for me. So definitely my mom. My mom and dad are good cop, bad cop, right? So my mom is like, do this, do that, stay in school, do this. And my dad is kind of like the nice guy, he's kind of like, okay, well, we'll figure it out. Just go do it again, kind of thing. So definitely my mom.
That's awesome, man. Something about that mother's love, where, you can handle like the, pops. There's just that growing up, it's like, you kind of butt head, you're like, whatever, but mom gets after you, right? You're like, we're in trouble. Like, you know what I'm saying? You just, man, there's something about a mother's love that can keep a kid into perspective. So let me ask you about this. You talk about playing sports, right? At an early age, what kind of sports did you play to? And in a follow-up question, that is going to be, how did sports, or playing organized sports, how did that help you kind of set goals and push through hardship, especially obviously owning a business? How did that goal, or did that playing sports or any kind of organized sports, how did that impact you, and how did it impact you in your life?
Absolutely. The first sport actually was football, right? Played a little bit of football, but my family is really known for playing basketball. So I watched my two older brothers play a lot of basketball. Of course, we watched the Lakers and all that kind of stuff growing up, and that transitioned into me playing, basketball in junior high and elementary and high school. And, just really the sports mindset of being a good sportsman. That's what I think I learned more importantly at a young age. What was really cool is when I was growing up, I actually played with Byron Scott's son. We were part of the same little league playing basketball. And so growing up, I got to see Byron Scott, at coming to the games and things like that. So that, imagine, you're a little kid and you already grow up watching the Lakers, and then you have a Laker, at your game watching you and his son play. You talk about motivation. That was it, for me, at like 9 years old, 10 years old, seeing that. But definitely sports, I encourage it for all young people. We actually, Warrior Energy Drink, we actually have this thing on our website where we talk, where it's kind of like our foundation, where it's called Warrior Energy Drink Cares. And what that is about is it's about giving back to youth who, want to play sports or paintball, whatever it is that they're into, where we actually do fundraisers for them. So, let's say a kid wants to play, basketball, right? It's his favorite thing in the world, or he wants to play football or tennis or golf or whatever it is, but he just doesn't have the means to buy those supplies. We want to be able to be those that say, you know what, Warrior Energy Drink Cares. Here you go. We're going to do a special fundraiser for you, or for your team, or for your organization. And we're going to make sure that you get the supplies that you need. Because I know how it feels, to grow up and you want to do something. And maybe at that moment, maybe your parents don't have that to buy those brand new basketball shoes that you need, or the basketball that you need, or whatever it might be. But definitely, I think sports is huge because it teaches, everybody at a young age, in this game of life, there's winners and there's losers. but it's how you handle both situations that really show, your heart. So that's something that sports, I'm 100% for it. I'm 100% for every kid playing a sport, because there's so much that you learn on and off the field just by, being in that sport.
Man, okay, you said something. I want a little more on that. You said you're the giving back, right? Because you know what it's like growing up, and maybe you don't have the right shoe, or you can't play that because it's not affordable, right?
Right.
Is that something that your parents taught you as a young age, or did you see that example of maybe somebody didn't have something and they were able to give them something? And, was it something that was taught at a young age, even though you don't have a lot of money, try to give what you can? And how has that propelled over to now adulthood?
Absolutely. I saw that a lot growing up. So, going to elementary school in South Central LA, you see a lot of poverty, right? You see, and so I was going to school, with a lot of kids who didn't have, the shoes, or didn't have the clothing, or didn't have, so that was something that I saw at a young age, because my mom taught me, she would always go through my closet and she's like, Cory, you don't even wear this. Let's donate it. Let's donate it to Goodwill. Let's donate it to Salvation Army. Let's donate it to the kid down the street who doesn't have pants or a shirt or something like that. So I give credit to my mom on that too, where she kind of instilled that. It's like, if you see someone who doesn't have something and you have an abundance of it and you're not even really utilizing it anymore, why not donate it? Why not give that to somebody who could really use it? So absolutely, I saw that a lot growing up. And even now today, I still do the same thing, at least, once or twice a month. I'm giving away stuff. I'm loading up a bag of clothes, or I'm looking through the closets, or I'm looking through here and there, really thinking, okay, do we need this, or could somebody else use it? So I'm already, I'm at Salvation Army, I'm at AmVets, I'm at Goodwill. Those are just some of the places that I give to on a consistent basis.
Man, holy cow. Like, okay, the servant mindset is unbelievable. I mean, just if you guys are listening or are watching this on the streaming services, I mean, just pause for a second and go back and reflect on what he just said, right? That servant mindset of just give back. I got a ton of stuff. I cannot imagine going to school and seeing somebody with no shoes, right? Or the same clothes, or you just know they haven't had a bath for a minute, right? I can't imagine that, seeing that at a school at a young age, and what that profound effect had on me, but on you was like, man, growing up, when I can help back, it's not if, but when I can help give back, man, I'm going to. That is powerful beyond measure. Man, you could teach a whole masterclass just on that principle alone, of just giving back, man. That's a home run. That's a home run for sure. So let me transition a little bit. We gotta talk about this right here, right? Yes, I got one. In fact, awesome. we're gonna hold up. Have our little. Okay. That is a warrior drink there. That's what I'm talking about. There you go. Let me read this to you real quick. Okay. It says, according to the latest report in IMARC group titled Energy Drink Market, Global Industry Trends shares size growth opportunities and forecasts for 2021 and 2026. The global energy drink market size reached $63.0 billion. So $63 billion in 2022. Looking forward, the market is projected to reach a value of $96.2 billion by 2026. Let me read you this other one. According to another statistic, right? Statistica is Red Bull owns 23% of the market share, as does Monster. The next closest is Bang with 8.6%. That's according to a statistic. So I have to ask, man. I have to ask you this. Take us down. Why go after these titans? Why get into a space where there are three giants, Red Bull, Monster, and Bang? Why start in this space when the Goliaths are already looking at you?
Absolutely. And I'm so glad you asked, because, my own brother, I'm gonna put him under the bus right now. He actually asked the same question, and he said, you know what, there's too many energy drinks out there already. You got celebrities that have energy drinks. You got Jerry Rice with goat fuel. You got the Rockstar Bang Monster, yada, yada, yada. And my response to him was, well, when you go to the grocery store or 7-Eleven or any store, how many packs of gum are there? How many types of chips are there? How many types of candy are there? You see, it doesn't really matter how many energy drinks there are out there already. The point is this: there's always space for something new. And so I kind of opened his eyes. I changed his perspective because I said, yeah, you can look at it like a David versus Goliath, because they are billion-dollar companies, right? But they all started the same way. It started with an idea. It started with one person who had an idea and said, you know what, I want to make this. So the way I look at it is I'm in that same exact position, just newer. That's all. Just newer, with time and with preparation and marketing and inventory and distribution and all of those things, we're growing at a super fast pace where now, those same companies, those same giants are looking at our page weekly. On a weekly basis, we're getting somewhere between 2,000 to 5,000 hits on our LinkedIn, on our website, and LinkedIn is so cool because it's so transparent. Like, it shows me the data, the real statistics. It's showing me that, Red Bull is looking at us, Bang Energy is looking at us, PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, Nestle. I mean, Zoa, the list goes on and on and on. So I'm getting real-time statistics that even though we are David right now, speaking in those terms, they're looking, they're definitely looking at us right now. So it's great. It's great. I mean, even within our first couple months of being out, and starting to get into 7-Eleven, starting to get into liquor stores and vape shops and things like that, they reached out to us wanting to know more information about what we were doing. So, it's even though they're big and they're the billion-dollar companies, my belief is that there's always room for one more if you're passionate and you have consistency.
Oh, the last thing you just said, passionate and consistency. That's game changing. Game changing. Let me read this again, because at the beginning you said this in part of your intro, but I want people to understand this. Look, this company started on a napkin. Remember that, a napkin. How many companies, right? How many companies start on napkins? A lot of them. But listen, let's go back to this opening statement, right? When COVID-19 hit, I was laid off as an area manager and started working many late nights. Like you would, you hustled, right? Got laid off. What are you going to do? Cry and moan? Probably did for a little bit. Probably like, this sucks. What are we going to do? Then you're just like, go back to the roots, right? I'm going to pull my britches up. I'm going to be a man or a woman, however you want to look at it, and say, I'm going to go do what I need to do. I got to provide, bills still come, lights still got to get paid for. I can't complain. I tried. And then you said, I tried everything to stay awake and drank all the energy drinks I could find. Then one morning around 1 a.m., I had an idea. The idea hit me like a ton of bricks. Why not create my own energy drink? Why not create my own energy drink is what you just basically said, right? Consistency and passion. Again, guys, this all started on a napkin. You heard him talk about this. He zoned out everything. Every waking minute that he had at night was dedicated to this company, building it, growing it. So share with us then the mental and physical toll that it's had, right? I mean, you talked about, right? Now everybody's looking at you, but your own brother doubted you. If your own brother doubted you, I mean, there had to be some kind of this game that you're playing. Take us through that space of how the mental toll and how you're able to overcome a lot of that mental doubt and mental insecurity.
Well, a lot of people didn't believe. My brother, one of them. My wife in the beginning, she was like, it's kind of risky. And, there's a lot of other things going on. And, you kind of just started this new job and you're kind of working late and I don't know. And, how would you even do that? We don't have the money for that and blah, 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 blah. So there's a lot of insecurity thrown on you at first until things start actually happening, right? Like, when I held the first can, in my hand, I cried. I literally cried because I said, you know what? Dreams do come true. And if you believe in them strong enough, and if you have a game plan written out of how you're going to accomplish your goals. So that's what I did. I got out after I was done with that napkin. I got out bought a little notebook and I said, you know what? These are my 30-day goals, my 60-day goals, my 90-day goals. And I want to crush all of these as we go along. I got to get my EIN number. I got to get my LLC set up. I got to get my business bank account. Like I went through all the things that you are supposed to do to set up a company. But as I'm going through it, you'll always have your naysayers. You're just wasting your time. You can't do that. It'll cost too much. Look at Red Bull, look at Bang. They're the ones that are number one on top. And I just ignored them. I completely, my own family included, in the beginning, I tuned out the negativity because I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, if this thing succeeds, I'll look like a genius. If it fails, I did my best and I tried and I gave it my all. But if I keep going and keep, networking and introducing the product and people were liking the product, I'm like, okay, like that's what really gave me the motivation was when I started talking to people about it and I started, introducing, people, the drink and they started tasting and say, hey, this is pretty good. That is really the strangers. The strangers are the people that really kept me going. It wasn't my family. It wasn't my friends. It was strangers. It was strangers who saw the product and didn't know me really, but they saw the product, they liked it, and they supported it. And that's one of the things that I've really learned coming into this space is that when you have a business, yes, your family can support you. They will support you to some degree. But for the most part, 90% or more of your support is going to come from strangers that don't know who you are or where you come from and don't care. All they know is you have a product, looks good, tastes good. Okay, I'll try it. I'll buy it. And that's kind of what I had to get, out of my own head with, it's like, I don't expect, family and friends to support because that support can only take you so far when really the support you need is from the masses.
Oh my gosh. Oh, look, okay. I'm telling you right now, y'all need to stop right here and rewind what Cory just explained to you. Doubt, fear. Okay. So first off, you wrote your goal down, 30, 60, 90-day plan. This is how I'm going to execute it, right? Your own family, even your wife were like, oh, look, my wife's just, we all have wives, right? Anything it deals with like money. It's
yeah.
How are we gonna pay for it? How are you gonna do it? Right? Then the compound. It wasn't that she doesn't believe in you. It was what about hey, you look at it. You're a dreamer, which I love, but hey, we don't pay this. We don't have a place to live, right? So you went through that. Then you were like, tune them all out, tune everybody out, because your biggest supporters are gonna come from those that do not know you. And Absolutely. That's crazy because any goals that we go after, anything that we go after emotionally or mentally, or we're like, this is what I'm going to do and I'm casting it out to the world, right? Anything that we go after, you're going to have that pushback. And it often is, and I've heard this more times than not, it's always by, a lot of it is by people that we love, trust, and respect. Those are our harshest critic. Those are the ones that are like, no, I don't believe in you. But what they're really saying is, prove to me, because I know who you are because we're the closest, right?
Right.
Close, right? I know who you are. So prove to me you're actually going to follow through with this. So I have to ask this question because I know there's probably, thousands of people are going to ask this question. How was those conversations between you and your wife? How was that conversation of, look, I can do this. Just give me a deadline and I will prove to you or show you. And then how did you guys bond together? How did you guys then solidify, like, we're all in, we're all in?
You know, I kind of gave her a deadline that I couldn't meet. My first deadline I told her was, let's say if it was May, for example, and I told her, okay, by November, I'm gonna have this thing up and running. And if I don't, you know, then I'll stop. That was kind of like the agreement, right? I think I blew by that agreement by at least 3 to 6 months. And she's kind of like, well, you said if you didn't have it all going and up and running by November, you'd stop. And I said, I know I said that, but I need more time. Like I needed just a little bit more time to figure out, you know, flavor and formulas and all these new things that I'm learning. I said, I just need a little bit more time, because her thing is, you know, if you can make it happen, great, make it happen, do it. I'll support you 100%, you know, but things cost money, things take time. So she's, you know, watching that too. She's like, okay, I see the inventory building up. You know, I see hats and I see sweaters and I see things. And she's like, I know that's coming out of your pocket, which is coming out of our family's pocket. So she's like, that's the fear, I think, of it. You know, it's like, okay, you know, you're not really making money yet on this thing, and the bills still come in normally, you know, so we want to make sure that you're not spending too much on your dream that you forget about everything else. So I was able to, you know, harness all that, do a good job of it, and kind of get it up and running and going. But yeah, there were many difficult conversations we had, you know, I'd even say arguments about it, you know, because I've always been kind of a person who creates things, you know. I've always had ideas, and, oh, what if I tried this and tried that, you know, and she knows me as, you know, you always have ideas. You're always thinking of new things and trying to come up with new things. And so in the beginning, you know, she thought this thing was just going to be kind of like a fad, like, oh, he's into it, you know, this year, but next year he'll be doing something. No. It turned into a definite passion, a definite lifetime passion, where it's kind of like, no, I want to take this thing as high as it can go. You know, I want to be in the shelf right next to Red Bull, right next to Bang, and which in some areas we are, you know, right next to those guys, running and competing with them as a viable competitor.
Look, I love what you just did, because you literally brought us into real life, right? I don't care if you're starting a business. I don't care if you're moving from one job to another job, guys. Look, it is tough having those conversations with that spouse, the supportive spouse, right? It's one of those conversations that, like, if it's to be, it's up to me, right? And let me prove, right? And even after I didn't make this deadline, or I need more time. I need more time. What she was seeing was the consistency, right? And the all in attitude. Like, I'm all in. Like, you don't understand. Like, I'm all in. And like you said, like, maybe this year it's this thing, and the next year it's this thing. But as we prove and show to those, especially closest to us, you know, we're going to blow this thing out of the water, which I think is, man, that's awesome. Man, that's awesome. That's unbelievable. So let me ask you, transition a little bit more, go back to some of the big stuff. You're in this space with all the big boys, right? You're in this space of, you know, again, they're looking at you. Now they're like, all right, we'll see what he's doing. We can see how he's growing. How do you tune out them? How do you tune that out? Well, look, you're next to, like you said, next to Red Bull on some areas. You're in a lot of 7-Elevens, vape shops. I've seen you all over. Go follow his LinkedIn. We'll make sure we have this posted down below. But man, how do you tune that out? How do you not let them try to push and bully you around and still stay consistent?
At first, you know, first couple months into it, Bang Energy did reach out on LinkedIn, and they said they wanted to have a meeting with me. So I said, okay, great. I said, let's do it. I thought, man, they noticed us. We're doing good things, you know, and I got on the phone with them, and it was me versus 5 of them in a Zoom call. And, you know, I got to ask them some questions. I said, well, how did you guys find out about Warrior? Like, how did you guys hear about the energy drink? What happened? And so they said, well, we have a team of people that search the internet for new energy drinks, that search for our competitors. And I said, wow, okay, cool. And they said, yeah, so we're reaching out to you because we see you as a future competitor, and we want to crush you. And that was their exact words to me. They said, "We want to crush you." And I said, "You know what? I really appreciate you guys reaching out because you just fueled my fire even more so." I said, "Now I'm independent, small business." I said, "But I'm really flattered that you consider my 2-month-old brand a competitor when you guys have been around for years. And if I understand correctly, I said you guys are distributed through Pepsi, and I think they own like 50% of you guys. And from what I've done my research on is you guys don't have the best relationship with Pepsi right now. There's been a lot of lawsuits going on back and forth between you and them. And so I did my homework and I definitely understood, once they said that, it was all gloves off. It was like, okay, now I recognize that this giant of a company, was basically telling me, don't get in my space. And so for me, that motivated me even more so, because now I'm like, okay, now I know you know who I am. Now we're going to go 10 times harder. We're going to try to definitely get in that space. So I love it just by nature, growing up, playing sports and being competitive, I love it because that just motivates me. And when I told that to my guys, my team, they said, "What?" They said, "What? Oh, we can't believe that." Okay. They want to be like that. How are we going to market? How are we going to distribute? I said, get out the paper and the napkin all over again. Because now we're going to come up with a brand new plan on how we're going to market this thing. And, so there's many different ways we're going to do it. There's many, not just radio and TV commercials, but we got some other creative things that we're thinking of. But definitely, you have to tune out the noise, even if it's from the giants, the billion-dollar companies, because no matter what space you're in, if you're considered a threat or a competitor, in their eyes, they're going to call you eventually. They're going to notice you, and they're going to be like, "Hey, this guy or this girl is getting a little bit too big, too fast. We need to talk to them," and hey, they're going to try to get in your head. They're going to try to get you to stop doing what you're doing. Why? Because they think you're taking dollars away from them, but they're already established. They've got billions of dollars. They're fine, but they are scared. They are scared of the little guys that are trying to get into their space, into their market.
Whoa. Wow. Just listening to you recall that conversation that you had with Bang, I could feel that competitive fire, right? That we're going to crush you. And then to come back because you did your homework, right? They were like, "Uh-oh, we know we can't bully this around." It reminds me of the movie that my family and I just watched, the movie King Richard, right? It's about the story of Venus and Serena Williams, right? And when Nike comes and they're like, "Hey, here's the money we're going to give you. This only is for today." And he was like, "No, we'll see." And they kept playing and kept playing and kept playing. And that little bit of cash they were going to give him turned into this massive deal. And I think that is so crazy when we're following and pushing for our dreams, right? Little things will come that even big people will come to try to squash those dreams.
Absolutely.
But it's the hold fast. It's the hold fast again, going back to consistency and that passion. Consistency
Absolutely.
and that passion. That's what people follow. I love that. I love that. This is a good thing. I think if you go on the website, you're going to read this. And I read this. I fell in love with it. It is huge, right? It says, I feel it was only natural that the love for positive energy, positive energy eventually turned into a passion product, then into a lifestyle brand, and that's Warrior Energy Drink. I love this lifestyle that you're creating. People follow lifestyles. People follow causes, right? And I love that, right? And you're in a great community to do that, being that you're where you grew up and the nationality of you and the nationality of your wife, this whole inclusive lifestyle. So help us understand, how are you building not just the brand of Warrior Drink, but how are you building this lifestyle? What is that lifestyle you're trying to create?
So basically we do pop-up events all around different cities, right? We just recently, actually today, I wasn't able to attend, but my team was actually in the city of Duarte in front of one of our 7-Elevens. And they were out there, being positive, giving out free samples, giving out merchandise, t-shirts, hats, and stickers and all kinds of stuff, and playing music and having fun and playing cornhole and throwing the football. Just being an active warrior, an active lifestyle in the community, so that we're recognized in every community that we go to. Oh, that's the warrior pop-up. I know those guys. They're cool. They're nice. They got, nice girls and nice guys, and they're helpful. And, just being that positive image in the community, where warrior is just, it's a lifestyle brand for everybody. We have skateboarders, we have boxers, we have basketball players. I mean, there's so many different facets to it, where, we're in the community. We just did, last week, we were partnered with the Lakewood Sheriff Station. We partner with law enforcement. Can you believe that? It's kind of like there's not an organization that we can't partner with. We partnered with the Sheriff Station, and then through the Sheriff Station, we had the American Cancer Society reach out to us. And now they want us to do all of their events for the rest of the year. Then Ronald McDonald House Charities reached out. They also want us to do all of their events. So because we developed a positive image in the community, now more organizations want to partner with us, which is crazy. NASCAR reached out to us. They want us to be a part of NASCAR. They've been reaching out for months. Fuel Fest, which is part of Fast and Furious franchise, they reached out to us. It's turned into a snowball of different opportunities, just because we put ourselves out in the community, right? We showed that, you can have an energy drink, you can be fun, you can be positive, you can help your fellow man, you can do fundraisers for kids, you can do all of these things, to the point where now we're in a position where we don't have to look for the opportunities to promote. The companies just invite us. They're like, hey, can you guys come to my store this Saturday? Or can you come to my community event on Sunday? Or can you come to Fuel Fest or NASCAR? And now we're in a position where we have to create a calendar of events. Like I just told my team yesterday, I said, guys, we are busy. We have to do a better job of creating a calendar of events, because the community, it used to be us going to them. Now they're coming to us. And I think just being positive and being fun and being something truly different, people are starting to see that in the community. And now they want to partner with us even more so.
Oh my gosh. Look, guys, if you don't understand what he's just saying, right? He is saying, look, again, go back to it. It was started on a napkin. The idea of this was on a napkin. Oftentimes, look, you don't have to own your own business. You can still be working that 9 to 5, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. What Cory is saying is just be sold out. Create this lifestyle event, right? That people want to follow, like in your own home. His wife doubted him until he created this lifestyle, this positivity, and she's like, I'm all out. I bet you if I brought her on right now, she'd be like, I'm totally sold out. Totally sold out. We're 100%. But you have to create that goal. You have to set those goals, those milestones, and people want to see you pushing to that. And I think that is so amazing. Now you have big energies looking at him going, he's about to take up a big market space. Anytime that you are in a store next to the big boys, you are now taking up market space. You go back to the analogy like you told your brother. I'm another option of chips. I'm another option of bubble gum. I'd have said I'm another option of ice cream, but that's just me, right? If you don't think what he's saying is true, let me ask you this: how long was it from inception to we have a product? How long was that? How many months was that?
It was a year.
Like 1 year.
One solid year.
So 1 year of all the naysayers picking you're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You get the product. How long after that did then you get then the big boy bang? How long was that when they reached out to you?
It was 2 months, exactly 60 days.
So you had been working for a year, 12 months of grinding, Guys, listen to that. 12 months of grinding. We give up on 2 weeks of something. The last interview I had, she talked about how she was like doing hard things for the last 2 weeks. She grinded through. Cory's telling you, you just grind. When you're sold out in that passion, you're just going to grind.